Hello everybody, making this little video. I'm going to be putting a bit of a video that I actually put out on this channel on the 17th of March this year. I think then it hit me, right, that there was just things so wrong with a certain case. That's all I've said. But I did show this video because this is what they're able to do. And you won't know when you're talking to people who these people are, where they've come from. I'm going to re-put this video out now and just listen to what this person is saying.
People on certain forums, message boards, or conversation threads online that are unabashedly pro-US. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, yes, of course, why would that be strange? There are a lot of people out there supportive of the US government, engaging in conversations in the social media world. But I don't mean those people. I mean the online personas that, oddly enough, are unrelenting in their patriotic vitriol and troll for literally hours trying to debunk legitimate questions or any opposition to the establishment. Sometimes it almost seems like these people might even be getting paid to do it. I mean, how else could they expel that insane amount of time and energy on these comment threads trying to argue how wrong you are? Well, this might be old news to some, but last year it was confirmed that the US military has been manipulating social media by using fake identities to influence conversations and spread pro-American propaganda. It's called online persona management services.
This is supposed to be an interview on 9/11 when this person turns around and says that they know what happened, that the aeroplanes going into the Twin Towers caused the collapse of the building due to the weight and etc, etc. Just slowing this footage down. Suddenly is like a, well, what do you call that? Just in the footage. What happens? Down. Look at this. Slow this bit down and watch it for yourself. Look at this. If you actually slow this footage down, you'll be absolutely amazed at what you see going on in all this footage. If you don't see it, you don't see it because you didn't see it the first time round. Like, I put this video out about Shanann. Hang on. It's regarding even just this one video here, right, where that person bends their finger right back like that. But do you know something? Right in front of you, not only is her finger bent back almost impossible, her finger turns from a painted white nail into a toe with a brown nail on it, and you didn't even notice it. Right underneath your nose. And I've had some really nasty messages, but I'm saying, why would anybody want to do this to Shanann? Why would anybody want to do this to her in memory of her? Why would someone manipulate the footage and turn it from a nail into a toe? Why would they do that? Why would they do that at all? That is not respect for this person who's been murdered. This is impossible. This is done right in front of you and you never even noticed it.
case here is actually to wake people up. Now, to me, this case has written all over it. This is something to awaken people that have the ability to see through certain things. The deeper you go into a case like this, the more you reveal, the more truth, and the more it pushes you away from the falsification matrix that we live in today. So I can see this case here being another example of the 9/11. Well, you know, 100%, if you dig a lot, you dig into this enough and you have enough time, you'll find out that the media is only a controller for the mind, and it's here to awaken you or put you back into a slumber. Now, depending on your level of perception, your level of consciousness, this will have a different effect on every individual. So, you know, the more consciousness we acquire, or the more perception that we have, the more sight we have, and the more these things seem more ridiculous. So yeah, I just like to say, everybody out there, keep searching, keep looking, keep freeing your mind, because the things out there for us to see, are just for us to wake up. Seek and you shall find.
And so people have written all these cocky messages to me, and then I have to write back and say, yeah, but can you turn a painted white nail into a big toe with a brown nail? And you didn't even see it, on top of wrapping her finger. Can anybody wrap their finger round? But you see, you didn't see it at normal speed, right? And any of these, when the videos have been manipulated, you have to slow it down, because they cannot hide the mistakes. So why do you think I'm being horrible? Look what they've done to her. Look what they've done. That's impossible. Why would someone want to put a big toe with a brown nail on Shanann's hand? Don't look at me. Look at the people who are making these videos. And people say, what is she going on about this for? And what is the relevance of this to me? The relevance is that while it's playing at full speed, you won't see it. You slow it down, it's there. So subconsciously, you are seeing it. But you don't see it, but it goes into your subconscious. So you imagine the message. And why would they do that to someone? Why do they need to do that to someone? Come on. What are we living in if that's what they want to show us and do to people? Who's doing that? Not even is it just happening in this case, or cases. This is NASA footage, right? First time that these two had been out together, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. This astronaut is paused while this one is moving around, and yet it's supposed to be live and they're supposed to be out there together. But as you can see, nothing is moving. This bit coming up. There he is out there working on his own, and he's moving. If we go back, just go back again, you'll see this. See, this is moving. He's moving. Things are moving on him. When you come back, he's not moving at all. This is a different colour to this. This shadow isn't right. He's not moving at all. So it isn't even just this case. Moving on his own.
And under the CENTCOM contract, it allows the creation of up to 10 sock puppet accounts for every U.S. serviceman or woman working on the program. The stipulations are that every fake persona must have a convincing background, history, and supporting friend networks so that it will remain undetectable from even the most sophisticated adversaries. According to The Guardian, the project has been likened by web experts to China's attempts to control and restrict free speech on the internet. And that critics are saying that it allows the U.S. military to create a false consensus in online conversations, crowd out unwelcome opinions, and smother commentaries or reports that do not correspond with its own objectives. Now, of course, according to CENTCOM, their only objective is to counter violent extremists and enemy propaganda outside of the U.S., and that it would be unlawful to address U.S. audiences with the technology. Wow, unlawful, really? Interesting, because the newest version of the 2013 NDAA included an interesting amendment. This amendment legalized domestic propaganda on the American public. You heard me right, The newest NDAA wasn't just reauthorizing the indefinite detention of American citizens. It also allowed the U.S. government to legally carry out misinformation campaigns against the citizens of this country. But is this really surprising to anyone? I mean, the corporate media is basically a propaganda arm of the U.S. government anyways, isn't it? Why the need to legalize the use of propaganda when you already have an entire mainstream media establishment lacking to the White House, reprinting government press releases without question, selling wars, and carrying water for the administration?
So, you know, a lot of people talk about their GoPro cameras, yeah? And if the GoPro camera was working like they think it is, why isn't this part bent like this is bent, like this is bent, but this looks absolutely enormous in perspective of Chris Watts now is in a jungle bedstead. I just don't think they're in proportion to the bed. I mean, look at the door on the GoPro. Oh, just to say, but not down here. The GoPro didn't work here. It worked here. It works down there, but it didn't work on this one. And then we've got the big bed, and it's much smaller there, but surely it should be the other way around. Anyway, oh my goodness, this is absolutely amazing. Did you see that? I'm sorry, can't blow it up too much because it's actually at the bottom of the screen. Blow it up a little bit. Does that look like Nicole Atkinson? So, they come in the room as looking like her, and then they get to this bit, and then they've morphed into somebody else with like a light on it. Let's go back. You saw what t-shirt she was wearing. It's like it's two people. One person, two people.
In fact, aside from everything I just mentioned, the Pentagon already spends $4 billion a year to influence public opinion, and the Department of Defense also spends hundreds of millions of dollars on information campaigns in countless countries occupied by the U.S. military. But perhaps even more disturbing than all of this is the fact that the CIA has already been infiltrating the biggest press institutions since the early 1950s. One has to look no further than Operation Mockingbird, a secret CIA campaign to spread disinformation and false stories to foreign governments during the Cold War. It did this by manipulating the media into focusing on propaganda, sabotage, and subversion. It was later revealed in congressional hearings that the CIA program consisted of literally paying off editors and reporters at most mainstream news outlets. The New York Times, CBS, Time, The Washington Post, Newsweek, AP, Reuters, and countless more.
This bit is also really shocking, and I don't understand how some of us see it and some of us don't. And I've done another video. This has got lines and things on it, yet you can't see anything anyway. Coming back here, she has a squirrel on the side of her head here. It's covering up something that she's watching in the mirror on the edge here, because there's a person and a child or something just there, right in her hair. Let's stop it. So, people who watched this before, who are awake, could see that this is a person and this is someone else here. But at the same time, it's also a squirrel with a nut in its paws on the side of her head. Why would someone want to do this? A squirrel with a nut. Going in subconsciously. Now a lot of us, there you go, there's the little squirrel and there's the little nut. Do you see the squirrel? There's his eyes, his nose, there's his little paws. There is the nut. There's Is its ears. It's sitting there like coming out of Bambi or something. But it's actually people as well. An adult and a child. Or something there. And they're moving around. And that's to cover up. But why put a squirrel in her hair? Oh my goodness. Look at this. Also, a viewer said this and I didn't see it, but I see it now. And I'm adding this bit extra after showing you the squirrel, and there's two figures there. I now realise what they were seeing. So, if you look, you can see some shadows moving around here in the mirror. But when you actually come to her head, I said a squirrel. There's some figures going on this side. But when you look again, you can see. Wait for it. There are things going on here as well. You're either going to see it or you're not going to see it. Why does it have to be in there? Can you see? It's like figures here, faces up here. A squirrel with a nut. Or is that a donkey or a cow now? Now it looks more like a donkey. It was a squirrel with a nut. I mean, it can be... Well, how can that be anyway? Look, you can see people. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 people in there. And then something here. Look. Why does that have to be in there? Look how it can be all sorts of things. This is crazy, come on. You are subconsciously seeing this. You're still seeing this. This is another case. It's just incredible. He's moving around in total discomfort. Right? But I'm not surprised. Wait for it. There. Watch. Look at that. He now has a claw sticking out of his shirt. So it's not just happening in one case. It's every case I go to.
In one instance, a journalist named Joseph Alsop, who's alleged to have been one of the most prominent journalists working under Operation Mockingbird, wrote foreign affairs articles that appeared in over 300 publications. So, isn't it nice to know that the supposed watchdogs of the government can be so easily bought? Even though the intent of this program was to focus on matters outside of this country, it undoubtedly influenced everyone living here at the time. People to this day could still be reading and referencing these articles, not knowing that they're completely fake.